being a pure play, we're entirely in a virtual space. We don't buy good store real estate and just get passing traffic and then retrospectively figure out who's walking into the store. If you don't know who you're targeting, no one walks in, no one bumps into your store. Right. So I think culturally, already, if you're not thinking about data and you're not thinking about who you're targeting, you're not going to get traffic. Right. I think the second interesting thing, in a previous life, I would think about positioning a brand and marketing in a traditional sort of agency format, and you would take a very roundabout view of a customer. You might position your brand on some kind of, on two axes, maybe like high value, low value, and, trendy, not trendy, or whatever it is. And then you kind of like, we're near this sort of space of brands. And then you would extrapolate from that the type of consumer that would go to those brands. And, you think in demographic terms. So what's the gender split and, what's the age? And that then follows through into the media that you buy. You buy TV that way. You buy radio that way. You target an LSM, you target a location, you target an age, and that's about it. And that's kind of what works. I think when you move into a digital space, the way you purchase traffic starts becoming one-to-one. You can go via Facebook or Google AdWords and go, who do you want to target? And you can target that way. You can say, I want to get this age and I want to, but very quickly you realize from a performance standpoint, everything is moving into programmatic targeting. And programmatic targeting doesn't care what the actual demographic definition is. It cares how you behave. So it doesn't think in terms of 21% of our customers are female of this age and this region, because programmatic doesn't care. Programmatic says, we don't know why, but this is your most valuable customer. This is from a revenue per visit basis, or from a efficiency, so from a ROAS, a return on ad spend, or cost income ratio, whatever it is. You're just constantly seeing sort of an obscure audience that's actually largely nameless, faceless, in terms of how cheap it is and what return you get. And immediately that changes your kind of agency-led need to think about audiences in like demographic terms, and you start thinking about them in behavioral terms. And if programmatically the end game is that you start targeting segments and then subsegments and then ultimately one-to-one, right? What that looks like in our business is something we call the single customer view, which isn't that complex really. It's every single user ID has a number, and we are constantly endeavoring to store as many unique fields of data against those users as possible. And so broadly speaking, we split that into 3 silos. One silo is demographic. So if you visualize it as a table, maybe we have 15 it's more like 25 demographic fields. Then the transactional stuff, which is expected. You just store for Lena, your order data. So what are you buying? What's in that basket? What's the value? What platform did you buy off? Was it an app? Was it mobile? And that's probably another 100 fields. And so if you've got demo and then you've got transactional, the third, which is actually the most elusive, is psychographic. And it took a while for us to understand that, because I might have like huge amounts of data that say you have 22,000 people who like G-Star and live in Sandton and buy 4 times a year on a basket size of 1,500 Rand. But what does that person look like? Who are they? And you still need to know their taste level. You still need to know, if I was to market to that person, is their favorite influencer Beyonce or Ricky Rick? Or, how do I package what they want to buy, the transactional element, in a way that still person resonates. So there's a couple ways that you can do that. Facebook is one way. So you can, which is why Zuckerberg's in trouble, but you can inject email data, so email addresses, it'll find corresponding accounts, and in aggregate, based on what those accounts have liked, for example, you will pick up media interests. What are the favorite bands or music or whatever? Another way, we survey. So right now there's a survey on Superbalist. It's got about 45,000 respondents, which is a decent sample in the last 30 days. And then in our organization, we have we sort of discern between BI and data science. Okay, so BI largely are the custodians of historical data, so that they actually are doing the data warehousing and engineering and just showing what is. What data science do is they predict and model what the future will do. And so Google's doing this programmatically all the time, but now that we've got a single customer view of, let's say, 500,000 customers, all you now need to do is reverse out, okay, I want to target people who spend 2,000 Rand or more on Android apps across the following categories. And data science will be able to reverse out a segment. But then they start predictively modeling what that audience will continue to do over time. And so if, for example, a user makes a purchase in that group, makes a purchase every 3 months, and each purchase incrementally grows sort of the basket value by 15%, they can start trending forward using machine learning. Well, over a period of 12 months, 24 months, 3 years, we can predictively forecast what the income or the customer lifetime value of that segment should give us. And so then you start thinking in segments and data sciences. The segment might be a tiny part of your business today, but predictively we forecast it will trend to becoming a material part of yours, or should. And then that is targeted. So we all then take that audience that might be 15% of our business now, but we understand based on its behavior and how it maps to the South African demographic that we're trying to target, it needs to be 30% of our business or 40% of our business, and we'll inject it into Google or whatever else and chase it down as well as we can.